So, getting into the University of Zimbabwe, it's just gotten a whole lot more challenging, right? If you're feeling the pressure, you are definitely not alone. But don't you worry, because we're going to break down exactly what you need to know about these new interviews and psychometric tests. The goal? To help you walk in there feeling prepared and totally confident. Okay, let's dive right in.
And yeah, this isn't just some small tweak, it's a major shift that has everyone talking. Look, universities all over the world are trying to find students with the right skills and mindset, not just the best grades. And UZ is now part of that trend. For some of the most competitive programs, your A-level results, well, they're no longer the only ticket in.
And look, this isn't just a rumor. For really competitive degrees like financial mathematics, a psychometric test and an oral interview are now officially part of the deal. So what does this actually mean for you? It means you've got a brand new, powerful way to stand out. It's a chance to show them what you're really capable of, way beyond your grades.
So, to get you ready, here's our game plan. First, we'll cover what's new in the new US Gauntlet. Then, we're going to decode those psychometric tests. After that, we'll talk about acing your interview, and we'll wrap it all up with how to build your path to success. Sound good?
All right, let's kick things off with part 1, understanding this new landscape. It's time to kind of reset our thinking because the game has officially changed.
And wow, the difference is night and day. It used to be that your academic results were everything, but now for a lot of these programs, that's just the starting line. The university wants the whole picture. They want to see how you solve problems, how you communicate, and really, how you think. It's definitely more demanding, but it's also a much more complete way of looking at you as a candidate.
Okay, let's move on to part 2 and tackle what probably feels like the scariest part of all this, the psychometric test. But trust me, once we break it down, you'll see it's something you can absolutely get ready for.
So what on earth is a psychometric test? Here's the main thing to remember. This is not a test of stuff you've memorized from a textbook. Nope. It's designed to measure your raw thinking skills, how you reason through things, solve new problems, and think strategically when you're under pressure. It's about how you think, not just what you know.
Now, what's really interesting here is how these tests match up with different skills. If you're gunning for a numbers-heavy degree like financial mathematics, you can bet they're going to test your numerical reasoning. If you're aiming for law or something in the humanities, your verbal reasoning skills are probably going to be the focus. And those abstract reasoning questions, they're all about your raw ability to spot patterns, which is a valuable skill in pretty much any field.
Okay, so how do you prepare for something that isn't based on memory? It all comes down to one word: practice. First things first, find out the format of the test. Then, get your hands on as many sample questions as you possibly can. Practice all the different types. And, this is the big one, practice under timed conditions. This is how you turn that nervous energy into a feeling of control and real confidence.
And this quote from author Richard McMunn just hits the nail on the head. You ever been in a test where your mind just goes totally blank? That's usually a confidence issue. But by practicing under the same kind of pressure you'll face on test day, you build up that mental muscle and the self-belief you need to really perform at your best. All right, on to part 3. You've prepared for the test, now you gotta impress the panel. The interview is your chance to shine, to show them the real person behind the application, your passion, your drive, and your personality.
According to the guidance for UZ Law candidates, the core strategy is actually pretty simple. Their goal isn't to trick you. It's just to understand how you think and communicate. So just take a breath, really listen to the question, and focus on giving a clear, direct answer.
Okay, let's get practical. Imagine you're in the room, and they ask you this: how do you respond? This question is a golden opportunity to show them right off the bat just how serious and prepared you are. Don't waste it. A really strong answer has a structure. You could talk about how you researched the university and, more importantly, this specific program. Mention that you went back and reviewed your relevant A-level material and explain that you've really thought about your long-term goals and how this degree fits into that plan. An answer like that shows you're thorough, you've got initiative, and you're genuinely interested.
You can bet they're going to ask about your future. And this isn't just about having a big dream. It's about having a plan. They want to see that you've thought deeply about why you're choosing this particular path and how UNZ is a critical piece of that puzzle. They also want to understand what you're passionate about. For a law applicant, they might ask about a role model. If you're hoping for engineering, maybe it's an innovator. Think about who inspires you in your field and be ready to explain why. What specific things do you admire about them and hope to bring into your own career?
And finally, above everything else, just remember this. It is totally okay to take a moment to think before you speak. In fact, a short, thoughtful pause can show way more confidence than a rushed answer. Just breathe. They want to have a conversation with you, not watch a performance.
And now for our final section, your path to success. We've gone over the tactics for the tests and the interviews, but honestly, none of that works without the right mindset. This is the foundation for everything else.
This quote sets the stage perfectly. It doesn't matter where you're starting from today. What matters is your willingness to work hard, to learn from your mistakes, and most importantly, to believe that you are absolutely capable of succeeding. So how do you actually cultivate that belief? Well, when we look at successful people, especially ones who've navigated big challenges like this, we tend to see 3 common traits. And the good news is you can start developing them in yourself right now. Here they are. First, persevere. When you get a practice question wrong, don't just brush it off. Dig in and figure out why you got it wrong. That's real learning. Second, be self-motivated. How much do you want this? Let that desire fuel you. And third, build that confidence. As we've seen, true solid confidence comes from preparation. It's the ultimate weapon against test day anxiety.
So, here's the bottom line. The path to getting in is actually clearer now. You know what's coming, and you have a roadmap to prepare. This new process isn't a wall designed to keep you out. It's an opportunity for you to prove yourself. The only question left is, are you ready to get started?